I'm Emma Turton. I'm a medical intuitive, and I'm also the founder and director of Medical Intuition School. And I just wanted to pop in today to speak about the COVID-19 or coronavirus and what it means in terms of medical intuition. And also to give you some simple steps that you can do, 3 simple steps that you can do to feel more in control during these unsettling times. So first of all, it has been really unsettling, and as I know you are all aware, there has been this rise of a virus out of China that is dominating our Facebook feeds right now. So, and I don't want to add to the noise here. What I would like to do is give you some practical steps that you can take away from this that will shift things for you. So, that fear that is coming up for all of us at this time, and, even myself included, although I work very hard to identify and clear the fears as they arise, of course, we are afraid for our loved ones. We are afraid for those of us around us who are vulnerable, in particular people with compromised immune systems, people with other coexisting conditions, or older people in our community and in our families, of course. So, this fear is rising across our planet. And it's rising almost out of control, and in the media and it's particularly social media, and the spread of panic leading to people literally punching each other for toilet paper at the supermarket. And vegetable seedlings and seeds completely gone from local nurseries and from warehouses, from hardware houses and things like that, so that people are clearly preparing for a lot more to come. As indeed, potentially they should, but not necessarily in the ways that it's been happening. That fear that's rising is like any other fear. We cannot clear or deal with a fear if it's still hidden. So when we have subconscious fears in the individual, we can't actually clear those fears and move on from them and actually work and live our lives from a place of not having that fear unless we've identified it and it's come to the surface. And so that fear that's rising across the planet needs to rise. It's a big part of the plan for this year that I've heard from many, many others in this field, that it's a big part of the plan for 2020 that we actually identify and all of this fear comes up so that it can be cleared from the collective. So I want to speak about medical intuition and viruses in general. So, and you may have heard me say before that from the work I do, I see viruses as an energetic upgrade for the individual. And don't get me wrong, I don't disrespect a virus at all. And the consequences of a virus may be incredibly serious in terms of disability or even death. And that's not just the coronavirus, that's many, many other viruses as well. But always there is some element of energetic upgrade going on. In particular with the flus and colds that we get every season, there's a level of us requiring an upgrade at that time, requiring rest to assimilate the upgrade, and we take that on in our system. And, so viruses must be respected because the consequences can be quite dangerous. But an epidemic and a pandemic are still very much to do with that energetic upgrade. And so when we look at epidemiology, when we look at the immune system on that epidemic or pandemic level, what we're looking at is the lower limb and the ground, or chakra 1, as medical intervention practitioners call it, as well as many others around the world too, I'm sure. But we call it chakra 1, the first chakra. That's the part of our energetic system, our metaphysical body that is connected to the ground and connected deeply with others, connected with our community, connected with our tribe, if that's what you want to call it, connected with our family and with our society at large, and connected with our clubs, with our teams that we follow, with our politics that we follow, with our churches that we go to. Those connections within our community and within our culture are our first chakra when it comes to our immunity. So it is very much around our connection to others there. And viral epidemics, when there's an epidemic virus, so that's very much around that tribal immunity or community immunity. And that's an energetic upgrade within the community. So that's what's happening when there's an epidemic. In this case with coronavirus, there is a pandemic, meaning it is across the world. And that is a different scenario altogether, in that we are actually experiencing an energetic upgrade across humanity. It's much, much bigger. The scale of what is happening here isn't just to the individual. The scale of what is happening here is that there is an upgrade happening to the human race as we speak. It's unfolding. And, you know, there will be loss with that. An upgrade doesn't, and I feel deeply the human loss. When I speak about it, I feel it very deeply. Because, of course, I am a sensitive healer. I am an empath. I identify as an empath. And many of you also, who are my viewers, also identify as the empath. And there is a level of being pulled along by the rising tide of emotion that is out there in the world, particularly for those of us who are highly sensitive. And we don't need to be pulled along by that. And I'm going to give you some strategies today to help you to separate yourself from that energy so that you can come back into a space of your heart and back into a space of who you are and what's happening around you in that moment. And so that global upgrade, you know, yes, there will be loss in there, but there will be incredible things happening. You know, I saw all of the plants gone from the nursery on the weekend because people are growing vegetables at home. Many of them for the very first time are planting vegetables and learning how to garden with their children because, you know, some children have never seen where a vegetable comes from apart from the supermarket. But now that there aren't very many there in many places, they're now seeing, or if they're in lockdown and can't go out of their house apart from their own backyard, they're seeing vegetables starting to be planted and grown. They're seeing seeds being put into the ground and sprouting, perhaps for the first time in their lives. And you know, this will roll on. When you run out of bread, what do? You learn how to make bread. When you run out of pasta sauce, you learn how to make pasta sauce from tins of tomatoes because that might be all you have in your pantry. So the flow-on effect is huge. These are simple things that our grandparents knew how to do. And so many of us now have lost that skill. We've lost that connection to the earth. We've lost that connection to our family and to each other. And we've lost that connection to ourselves and what makes us us. So this is a part of the upgrade. It is a catalyst for political change. It's a catalyst for economic change across the world. And it's a very rapid catalyst for change within our society and in our culture and within our communities. We are starting to band together already, although there is still some hostility out there. I'm seeing Facebook groups like Adopt a Health Worker, which is a phenomenal way to support a health worker in your area when they start to need that help. You can drop off groceries, you can walk their dog, you can, you know, look after their kids, or you can do all of that stuff when they need that help. And so those sorts of groups are starting to sprout now and take root. So that change is already beginning, and it's an invitation for us to go deeper into that change. And so what can you do now? What are 3 simple steps you can do right now to feel more in control during these unsettling times? Because the biggest thing is, as I heard a dear friend say today, that, you know, what we've been shown is that our illusion of control, we never had control, but the illusion that we had control of the things happening around us has been thoroughly shattered now. So we are all seeing how little control we actually have of our lives and the lives of those around us. And so what can we do to help us feel like we are regaining control? Because there are some things still within our control. And so the very first thing to do, the first step, is to notice the fear when it arises in all its forms. Now, fear takes many forms, and those fear can come up as hatred, it can come up as anger, it can come up as frustration, it can come up as anxiety, it can come up as, you know, terror, as in fear, it can come up as sadness, it can come up in so many different ways. All of them are different masks of fear. And when we allow them to carry us and hold us, we're being driven by fear. We're choosing everything by fear. And we're actually adding to the global fear in terms of our energetic addition, in terms of how we influence the world around us. And we are inviting more things that make us more afraid. So noticing the fear is the very first step. Noticing when you're going into anger towards someone, or frustration towards the government, or frustration towards the health system or the testing system, or all of that stuff. And of course, I'm having to check myself at every step too, because I'm going through various frustrations with that myself right now with my family, as I'm sure you all are as well in some form. So you notice the fear in all its forms. The second step is to breathe. Return to the breath. Take all of your awareness to your breath. Allow yourself just to focus on breathing in and breathing out. Because you know what? In every present moment, you have your breath to use as an anchor back into your body and back into the present moment. Allow yourself to use that. Tap into the breath. Allow it to bring you back into the present, to know that you are safe right now. And that immediately, right now, all you need is the breath. You don't necessarily need a meal. You don't need a drink. You don't need anything else. You don't even need to have anyone else around you right now in that moment. And you can do it right now with me, is just this breath in and this breath out. This breath in and this breath out. And let yourself let go of the fear and come back into that present moment. And the third most vital, most important step is in this process is to start to practice radical compassion. Now, compassion is a word that is thrown around a lot, particularly in spiritual circles, and it's often misunderstood from what I've witnessed. Compassion isn't a sadness. Compassion isn't the human condition, it feels horrible. It's not that feeling. The feeling of compassion, as I see it and as I mean it, is, to describe a situation in which you may feel compassion, is you may remember there's been many races in the world where an athlete has stopped to help another athlete over the finish line so that they can finish their race with pride and dignity, even though they hurt themselves. And I'm feeling so much compassion now. It's so good. So we often cry with compassion, but it's happy tears. It's feeling of connection. It's a feeling of oneness. It's a feeling of joy with each other and connection with each other. So I invite you, when you see someone doing something you disagree with, to try and step back into radical compassion, to step back into non-judgment of them, to step back into thinking, actually, they're only human and they're afraid. That if they are stockpiling toilet paper, it's because they are more afraid than me. If they are stockpiling plants, they are afraid their food might stop. And I invite you to put yourself in their shoes and feel for a moment that fear. And then tap into the love and the compassion and the kindness and the deep connection that you have with them for being human. Because that's all they are. They love their family. They love their life. They want to continue living with their family. And they want their family to continue living around them. And that's all there is to it. So allow yourself to see that and honor them with that deep, radical compassion. Allow yourself to connect in with them at that level. Because when we keep ourselves separate and alone, which of course, social distancing is something we've been instructed to do, which I completely agree with. Yes, distance ourselves in various ways if we can. However, it doesn't mean we stay disconnected. It doesn't mean we fear our neighbours. It doesn't mean we place everybody else outside our home as an other and we are afraid and we hate them. It means we need to actually dive more into compassion, because when we hold that separation with others, we are actually decreasing our immune system. We are making ourselves energetically more vulnerable to the virus that is there, along with all of the other viruses that are still around. They haven't left. I had influenza A myself in January. It's horrendous. Don't get it if you can avoid it. And when we feel separate and alone and at odds with those around us, we are decreasing our immune system in an enormous way. And we have control over that. We can choose to feel radical compassion for our neighbours. We can choose to reach out to those in our community who we may be able to support. And we may be able to leave a note in a neighbour's letterbox and say, look, I understand that you may be staying in a lot more because you may be more vulnerable. Just send me a message with what you would like me to pick up from the shop when you run out, and I'll add it to my list and do it too. Start to think of ways you can support your community and act from that radical compassion. The more compassion and connection we feel with those around us and with the world at large, then the more our immune system is nourished, the more our immune system is actually stronger and able to resist what's out there, what is coming around in the terms of viruses, in terms of even bacteria as well. So Allow yourself to choose radical compassion and boost your immune system, but also boost your feeling of connection with those around you. Because as this progresses, we may end up more and more isolated within our homes, and we are going to need that support and the community and that feeling of connection more and more. So don't be afraid of it. Think of it as a new opportunity for you to start to notice when you're going into fear and to bring yourself back into radical compassion for others, deep understanding, deep connection, and that knowledge that you are not alone in this, that none of us are alone in this, and that it is for the greater good. At some point, we will begin to see that. We will begin to see the benefits that do sometimes come at great loss. So, as we ride this storm together, let's stay together as humans with deep compassion and love and connection with each other. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a new offer that I'm creating right now that's all about how to boost your immunity using science and spirituality. So if you are interested in this offer, I invite you to pop a GIF or a sticker or a comment in the comments section. And as soon as I'll add your name to the list because it's not quite ready yet. As soon as it's ready, I will send it through to you. And you can check it out and see if you can, boost your immune system yourself using science and spirituality. So just pop a comment or a GIF or a sticker or whatever you like, some emojis, whatever you feel like in the comment section, and I'll add your name to my list, and you'll be one of the first to get your hands on that. So stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live. Take care.